You're in a crowded room, half listening to a dozen conversations at once, when suddenly you hear it, your name, spoken across the noise by someone you can't even see. Your head turns before you've decided to turn it. Your heart gives a small, sharp jump as if something important just happened, even if it's just a stranger asking for someone else. With the same name for a second, you're not really thinking. You're reacting. That flinch, that jolt of attention, feels almost involuntary. And that's because it is something in your brain singled out your name from a wall of overlapping voices before your conscious mind even caught up. It's a strange kind of magic trick your own nervous system plays on you dozens of times a week, and most people never stop to ask why it happens. The answer starts with a phenomenon researchers call the cocktail party effect, first studied seriously in the 1950s by a British scientist named Colin Cherry. Cherry was trying to understand how people managed to follow one conversation in a room full of competing sound. He played different messages into each ear of test subjects and asked them to repeat back only one of the streams. Most people could do it, but they also noticed something curious. Even while ignoring one stream completely, a listener's attention would snap toward it the moment their own name appeared inside it. That detail turned out to be the important part. Your brain isn't just filtering sound based on volume or clarity, it's constantly scanning everything you hear, even the parts you think you've tuned out, for information that matters to you specifically, and almost nothing matters more on a primal level than the sound that represents you. To understand why, it helps to think about what a name actually was for most of human history. For the vast majority of the time our species has existed, humans lived in small, tightly bonded groups. There was no writing, no records, no way to look someone up. A name was one of the only tools available for a group to coordinate, to warn, or to call for help. If someone shouted your name across a camp, it rarely meant nothing. It meant attention was needed right now. Danger, food, a child in trouble, a decision the group needed you for. In that kind of environment, missing your name being called could carry real consequences. Natural selection tends to sharpen the systems that help avoid costly mistakes, and failing to notice an urgent call for you again and again was exactly that kind of mistake. Over many generations, brains that reacted quickly and automatically to their own name had a small but real advantage over brains that didn't. That pressure didn't disappear just because modern life did. Your nervous system today is still running largely the same hardware that helped a small group survive on the savannah. It doesn't know the difference between a life or important life moment and someone at a party trying to get your attention for a joke. Both trigger the same ancient alert system. This is where the brain's attention networks come in. Researchers studying selective attention have found that certain regions, particularly around the prefrontal cortex and areas tied to salience detection, work almost like a spotlight operator standing behind the scenes. Most sound gets filtered into the background, processed just enough to be ignored, but specific patterns tied to personal relevance get flagged and pulled forward into conscious awareness almost instantly. Your own name is one of the strongest of those patterns. It's been repeated to you about you thousands upon thousands of times since before you could form long-term memories. That repetition built an incredibly deep, well-worn neural shortcut. Hearing it doesn't require effort or interpretation. It bypasses the slow, deliberate parts of thinking and goes straight to something closer to instinct. There's a similar effect at work in something psychologists call the orienting response, first described in detail by the Russian physiologist Ivan Pavlov, and later expanded by other researchers studying attention and arousal. Whenever something unexpected or personally significant breaks through the background, the body responds almost like a mini alarm. Heart rate shifts, muscles tense slightly, focus narrows onto the source of the sound. It's the same system that makes you snap awake at an unfamiliar noise in a quiet house, or glance up sharply when someone drops something behind you. Hearing your name loudly called combines both of these systems at once. It's personally significant, and it often arrives suddenly and without warning, sometimes even shouted. Your body doesn't wait to evaluate whether the moment is actually urgent. It reacts first, the same way it might react to a sudden movement in the corner of your eye, and only afterward does your conscious mind catch up to explain what happened. That's part of why the flinch can feel oddly disproportionate to the situation. Someone across the store simply wants directions, or a friend is joking around, yet for one brief instant your body responds as though something urgent is unfolding. There's a strange kind of vulnerability tucked inside that reaction. It reveals how much of your attention operates completely outside your control, quietly listening for you even when you think you've tuned everything out. Modern research on hearing and attention has only reinforced how far this reaches. Studies using name-based experiments have shown that people notice their own name in background audio far more reliably than they notice other common words. Even when they're focused on an unrelated task, some studies have even found measurable brain activity spikes at the exact moment a person's name is spoken nearby, even while they are asleep, suggesting the detection system runs on some level continuously day and night. There's something almost unsettling about that idea. A part of you is always listening, always scanning, always ready to respond to one specific sound, whether you're awake, distracted, or dreaming. And yet this old alarm system built for tribal survival now mostly gets triggered in far gentler moments. A barista calling an order, a teacher taking attendance, a friend waving you down across a crowded room, the stakes are almost never what they once were. But the wiring underneath hasn't caught up, and honestly, it probably never fully will. So the next time your body jolts at the sound of your own name, cutting cleanly through a room full of noise, you thought you'd tuned out, notice what's actually happening underneath it. It isn't random, it isn't a coincidence, and it isn't really about the person calling you at all. It's an ancient survival circuit, quietly proving it still works, just waiting for the one sound it was built to never miss.